Thank you so much, Mr. Thomas. So I have a request from everyone though. Let's turn on our cameras. We could be casual because as you can see, I follow our SVP. He had a black tee on, so here I am in my black tee. So we're gonna be kind of casual today. So I want to thank Mr. Thomas for that amazing introduction and the leaderships that he, hi, Miss Castro, look at you. Miss Joyce, Mr. Dale Ransom, Miss Dominique, Miss Zoe, look at, she's always looking fabulous. Can we just acknowledge that? And Miss Ambore Sheldon, thank you so much. So as I was saying, and Mr. Edmund Smith, and as I was saying, so these leaderships that Mr. Thomas has been putting on, like, I don't know about anyone else, I have been so fired up, especially the one that he did, like the past two leaderships alone, if we heard nothing else from him, and we just hit those on replay, the podcast that he did on Friday, yes, that book, podcast that he did on Friday, and the leadership that he did last night, if you listen to nothing else, hit replay on those two leaderships, because the amount of knowledge and just information that is on those leaderships is insane. When he showed that video yesterday, we just, you know, my husband and I, we were just talking and we're like, can you imagine how people live? A mansion for 50 million, just imagine. And we haven't even seen anything like that in our lifetime, but that should be motivation, even though it's not about the money or anything like that. Just knowing that you can get something like that if you wanted it, like, it's just a different feeling. So what I'm gonna do is, I just wanna thank Mr. Thomas for all of that. Just amazingly thank him. So they are being uploaded on the channel, Mrs. Phipps, so stay tuned for that. So what I did about a week and a half ago was a part one of kind of, you know, how to prospect on social media, how to use apps and things like that. And Mr. King did a phenomenal training that's on the channel as well. But what I'm gonna do is kind of get into specifics, because a lot of the times we hear like, okay, talk to people online and get people to the presentation, but it's like, okay, so how do I do that exactly, right? So that's what I'm gonna cover, is the how-to. So if you missed the part one, definitely go back, check it out, but I will do a recap. So we're gonna dive right into it, okay? Now, the first thing that I went over was knowing your why. So if you have your notes from that first time, go ahead and get them out, because you can just add to that. But you really have to know your why. You have to know why you're doing this business. What's the point? What's the end goal? Because remember, we need to start with the end in mind. If you know that you're going senior vice president, the how doesn't matter. The how is irrelevant to you. The only thing you need to do is know that you're gonna be a senior vice president and believe that you can do it. You have to have that burning desire. If you've watched The Secret, which I'm always talking about, and it's funny because when Mr. Thomas was here in Fresno, I had heard things about the movie and I was like, can we just watch another movie? And after I saw that movie, I just have not gone back. And now that's like a go-to movie. So you have to know your reason why. Get that down, because that's gonna help with everything else. Number two, you have to know the schedule for the presentation. You have to know the schedule, because think about this. If you have a guest, okay, Miss Castro's laughing because we had a conversation about this. If you have someone that says, okay, sure, I'll be on a presentation, and you have them on the phone and you don't know when the next presentation is, how is that gonna look to your guests? It's not gonna look professional. It's not gonna look like you're prepared. So we wanna be professionals, right? Mr. Thomas is always saying, go pro. Why does he hound on go pro? Because we're here to go pro. If you're gonna do it right, be a professional at it, right? So know the schedule. So for June, I'm pretty sure we will be having the schedule. I think it's pretty much the same as this past month, but Mr. Clemens is gonna let us know at the end. And I actually have a challenge for everyone on the line that's actually up for taking a challenge for June, but I ain't gonna say anything right now. Okay, the next thing is, where do you find the prospects? So I talked about using Facebook, using Instagram. A really nice one right now that I like is Bumble, and that has like a dating site and a business site. So make sure you're on Bumble Biz, because there's a lot of people out there that you don't want to be talking to. And then Shaper, SHAPR. So the first one is Bumble, second one is Shaper, and then Facebook, Instagram. There are other apps out there that Mr. King covered on that training. So again, go to the channel, watch that training. But for me right now, don't want to be getting overwhelmed, because if you start diving into social media, there's like thousands of people online. It is very easy to get lost. So what my advice to everyone would be is, look, I just named 4 right now. Just stick to 2. Stick to 1. Once you're consistent and you track your numbers and you track your guests and you're like, okay, this is working for me, then you can add on or you can expand from there. But in the beginning, just start with 1. So if you're going to go through your Facebook friend, just start with Facebook. Don't even look at any other apps. Just say, okay, I'm going to message X amount of people every day, which we talked about last time, right? Set a goal for yourself. Now, just by a show of hands, the faces that I can see, which I appreciate all of you so much, the faces that I can see, how many of us actually set a minimum goal and how many of us attempted to do that minimum goal that we talked about last time? Raise your hands. I got 4. All right, cool. So the faces that I can't see, I don't know if I should assume like 50%, but out of the 12 that I have, 10, 12 that we have on the screen, we had about 4 to 5 people that tried it. Now I know that the last call that I did, right after, I had an IBO reach out to me and she was so excited because she's using LinkedIn. So that's another one that you can use. That's another profile, okay? Or another app. So she called me and she texted me and she was like, oh my God, we just got off the call and I already got results. Like somebody's already, like I prospected someone already. And it was literally like within 3 minutes of us getting off of the call. And I was just so ecstatic for her because look, what does Mr. Thomas say? With a closed fist, you can't give or receive, right? So the last call that I did, I could have 100% been like, I'm not telling anybody, nothing, like, I'm just going to keep this to myself. I'm just going to work on it. But there's enough for everyone. Like there's billions of people in this world and on social media. So if I can make a difference in somebody's career or somebody's time in network marketing, it's like, why not? The more you help people, the more you're going to get back. You don't even know where it's going to come from, but you have to be willing to serve. And that's one thing when Mr. Thomas was like, why are you guys here? And everyone just kind of looked at each other and they're like throwing out answers on leadership and stuff. And then he said to serve. And we're just like, wow. Like just as soon as he said that, we were just like, wow. So just find some ways that you can serve. Because think about it, when we're talking to people on these apps online, what is our goal? Our goal is to serve their needs, right? What did they need right now? People need ACN, right? People are looking to make extra money. People are looking to work from home. People are looking to cut costs on their bills, and we can serve all of those needs, right? So how amazing is that we can do that for them? Now, the next thing that I went over, number 4, was scripts. So remember, actors get paid to read scripts, okay? So if you want to make actor money or more than actor money, we got to learn how to go off a script. Now, the good thing is on social media, your initial contact with people is pretty much going to be like a text message or a private message, right? You're not right off the bat going to be like, hey, what's your number? No, you got to message them first. Edmund's like, no, you got to message them first, right? And then once they respond to you, then that's a green light. Then you go from there. So here's I did a couple of scripts the last time, but here's another one, okay? So initially, when you reach out to people, you'll kind of see how these apps work. When you reach out to people, your initial thing should be, hey, how are you? You know, how are you holding up? Same thing that Mr. Thomas talked about, talking to our IVOs, you can use that same thing here. You can say, hey, I'm glad we connected. How are you doing with everything? Done. That's one. Hey, I'm glad we connected. You always want to acknowledge the fact that you guys had a connection or you guys matched or that they reached out to you or something like that. Because remember, what do people love? Is people love being acknowledged for something, right? So if right off the bat, you're showing them gratitude and you're just like, hey, like, I'm so glad we connected. Thanks for your message. Just be nice to them. Like, you know, you don't know them. I mean, if they join, great. If not, I mean, no big deal. You can still stay friends or you cannot ever talk to them again. Doesn't matter. So, but you should be keeping in contact and dripping on people unless, yeah. So what you want to do after that initial message, then just wait for their response. So that's probably the most like time consuming, not time consuming, but just the thing that you have to wait for is for them to actually respond back. Because some people, because they're external apps and they're not text messages, they don't usually check them every single day. They usually check them like once every couple days or something like that. So initial message, hey, how's it going? I'm glad we connected, blah, blah, blah. When they reach back out to you, what's their next question gonna be? They're gonna ask you how you've been, right? And if they're on an app to do mostly networking, their whole objective on those apps is to network. So I thought about this a lot in the beginning, and Mr. Thomas can go ahead and chime in at any time. But when in the beginning, you have to really think, you have two options when you're trying to create the business you want with prospects online and through these apps. So number one, you can build a relationship with them, okay? So now there's some pros and cons to that, because the pro is you will be, you know, building that trust and things like that with that person. Number two, the con is that that's a longer process, right? So if like, let's say I reach out to Magali and I'm just like, hey Magali, I'm so glad we connected on LinkedIn. How have you been doing with everything? Bam, send. Hey Natasha, I'm great. How are you? Thanks so much for asking. Great, you know, I've actually been pretty great. I can't complain. I mean, my business, I'm so fortunate and thankful that, you know, I get to work from home on my business. What's the next question that she brings at me gonna be? What business, right? Edmund already knew what business. So that's like, you already know what's gonna come back to you. So just be prepared to answer, because that right there, that's like a mini step towards a peak, right? Because you just basically, you said, hey, I'm doing great. I'm so thankful and fortunate that I get to work from home. Bam, sent. And then what's the next thing coming? Oh, what do you do? Oh, what is it? Right? When they ask you that, here is a generic response you can use. Or there's different variations. You just have to find what works for you. So one of the things that I've been saying to people is, I'm actually growing an online business and seeing who I can help work from home. Would you be interested in learning more? Okay, like as simple as that. That is as simple as it gets. I told them it's online. I told them it's work from home. And I asked them, I said, are you interested in learning more? Okay, now in that, you can add, I help people make money on bills. That's something that I've used and it has worked. Okay, because Les Brown talks about disrupting people's thinking. Okay, so think about it this way. People are not used to the concept, number one, of network marketing, because they have a negative connotation some of the time, maybe most of the time, depending on who it is. Number two, they're not used to the concept of people making money on bills. Like, what? What did you just say? You get paid on what? I pay bills. I never get money on bills, right? So when you tell them that, they're just like, what? Like, you get paid on bills, like on bills. And it's like, yeah, like, do you want to learn more? Majority of the time, 80+% of the time, what is someone going to say? Yep. They're going to be like, yeah, sure. Because when you come off non-confrontational, and that is huge. And remember, it is very, very hard to do that over messages, because people will read a text message based on their emotional state at the time. So I'm going to say that again. People will read a text message or an email or a Facebook comment according to their emotional state at the time. So just because you had the best intentions in the world, Miss Joyce, the best, you were just like, you know what, I'm really going to help this person. Like, hey, like, you know, is that something you're interested in? Blah, blah, blah. I make money on bills, work from home, da, 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 whatever it is. If they have just been approached by someone that does another company or insurance or something, another service or product, how open or positive do you think they're going to be to your invite? depending on their previous experience, right? If it went well, then they're going to be positive. But if it went not so well, they're going to be kind of negative, right? So you just have to really, like, I use a lot of emojis. So for people, like, whoever texts me, like, you guys see I use emojis all the time. It's because I want people to see that, hey, I'm smiling, like I have a smiley face on there, right? So when you see a smiley face, you're just like, oh, okay, like no big deal. Because if you come off confrontational, that person is not gonna respond to you, and there's gonna be like, who does this person think they are? Delete, click, right? And we don't want that. We want them to at least have like a fair shot, or at least give us a fair shot at seeing the business, right? So another script that I started using that's been successful is, once I kind of go back and forth, and people ask me all the time, they're like, well, how do you even start the conversation? And it's like, guys, it's just communication skills. Like, think about it. When we were out and about, or, you know, if you're sitting next to someone, like on the plane or at a restaurant, you're talking to the waiter or whatever, it's just like, it's a conversation. Like, and the good thing is that everything in this business is teachable. Every skill that you need to succeed in this industry is teachable. Like, it's not like anybody's born with any special powers or, like, you know, extra like flair and stuff. No, everything that you need to succeed in ACN is teachable. So conversation skills, guess what? Teachable, right? Presenting, teachable. Peaking, teachable. Everything is teachable. But you have to be willing to want to learn, and you have to be coachable. Because Mr. Thomas can do the best of the best trainings and leaderships, but if you yourself are not committed to your reason why, or to bettering your skills, it doesn't matter who's giving the leadership, you're the common denominator. Like, things will not change no matter what you do. It's like someone being in a relationship, okay? They go from relationship to relationship to relationship, but they're never happy, so they keep going to the next one. They're the common denominator, right? That person has to realize that they have to be happy with themselves, and they have to be committed before that's what they attract, right? So you have to be like that in ACN. So this next script, this is what I use. So another one is, you know, hey, how's it going? Da, da, da. And then if it's on one of the networking apps and I know that their main goal is networking, I just go, like, I kind of just go straight for it. Like, within 3 to 5 messages, like, I'm peaking, right? Because after that, I mean, if they're not interested or anything, it's kind of like, we're sorting. Like, that's my mentality on it. Like, we're sorting. It's numbers, right? So I have the 100 squares chart too. I can go over that in a little bit, but we're sorting. Like, why are you going to take so much time? Like Jeff Street, when he talked about the oysters in a bucket, right? If I gave you a bucket of oysters and there's 100 in there, but only 5 of them have a pearl in it, how long are you going to take to go through those? You're not going to crack open the first one, meaning like you piqued someone, right? And they say no, meaning that there's no pearl in there, right? And you're just like crying and you just like chuck the pearl down. No, like you just toss it and move on, like keep going, right? So that's how on networking apps and people that are actually on there for business, you know that that's their main objective too. So why beat around the bush? Like, that's but that's the shark in me. But it's like, why beat around the bush? Like, just get straight to it, right? So, hey, how's it going? I hope you're doing well. Like, just, you know, because some people really just do need someone to vent to, right? But after that, when you guys start asking each other, hey, what do you do? What do you do? Then you can tell them, this is the script, okay? I help people work from home, okay, part-time around their schedule, and help them to make money on bills like TV, internet, and cell phone. Would you be interested in learning more? That's it. So I help people work from home, part-time, spare time around their schedule, and help them make money on bills such as TV, internet, cell phone, etc. Would you be open to learning more? Or is that something you'd be interested in? You know, just kind of depending on how your conversation is and how you speak to people. And, even besides the typing out of the text message, do you guys want to know what's a little bit more effective than that? Like just a little bit more effective. Do you guys want to know? Or I could just leave it out. Okay, go. So versus just typing out a message. Okay, Magali, I see you. So besides typing out the message, it's actually not calling if you're on one of the apps that I talked about, like Facebook or anything like that. I started doing audio messages for people. So why do you think I would audio message someone? They get to hear your voice, right, Mr. Smith? They get to hear your voice. Now, let me ask you this. If you read a text message, hey, how are you? I help people make money on blah, 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 blah. No, okay? Because they're reading it like they don't even know what you sound like. So they have to read it in their own voice. And if they're monotone, that's how they hear it. Or if you got an audio message, hey, Edmund, it's great hearing from you. I'm really glad that we connected. So I actually show people how to work from home and make money on bills like cell phone, TV, and internet. Is that something you'd be open to hearing about? Done. And I send it. It took me less than 10 seconds to record that audio message and send it. How much more likely do you think Edmund is going to be to respond to me now? I don't care if he responds with a text message back, because that's probably going to happen most of the time. But the fact that that person heard your voice, if you're excited, they're right here. Like if you're excited, that done deal, right? But just if you got to do jumping jacks, you have to drink coffee, energy drink, whatever you need to do it before you do the audio. Just make sure you're not, hey, Edmund, I help people make money on bills like TV and internet. Edmund ain't answering you back. Okay, so no. If you're going to do it, be excited, because remember, think about what you have. If you need to get pumped up, watch a leadership. Like sometimes I will put on one of Mr. Thomas's like clips, one of the videos on the YouTube channel. I play it and I'm just like, okay, I'm ready to go. Like, let's do it, right? So you have to have that excitement and that urgency in your voice, because remember, we're sorting, okay? Now, the thing after that, once they agree, okay, so now from there, you sent that peak. So you telling them you get paid on bills for TV, internet, cell phone, that's a peak. You get a brownie point for that peak, okay? Now, from there, there's two options that happen. They're either going to say no thank you, because we asked them in a very nice way, so people are polite, right? They're going to say no thanks, or actually three options. They're going to say no thanks, or they're going to try to peek you back because they're in like the industry or something. Zoe's like, yeah, like that's happened to me. Or they're going to say, yeah, sure. What is it, right? Then what do you do from there? When somebody says yes or no, or they try to peek you back. If somebody says no thanks, just be like, okay, no problem. Just thought I should ask. Write that down. Okay, no problem. Just thought I should ask. And you can put in a little happy face in there if you want. Okay. And then two, you can add on, if ever you're looking for something, don't hesitate to reach out to me. You can leave the door open. Don't like, oh my God, you didn't want to hear, da, da, da. No, leave it open, okay? Leave the door open, okay? It doesn't matter if they never reach out to you yet, you left the door open, okay? And if they're a qualified prospect and you feel like there's something there with that person, then you can keep dripping on them, no big deal, okay? Now, if they try to peek you back, or if they try to peek you first, okay? Because there's a certain service and industry right now that there's like so many people online, right? And they're just like bombarding everyone. So I've gotten a couple messages, they try to peek me first. And what I tell them is, so here's one for insurance, okay? Because they're like the sharks out there right now, right? So let's say for insurance, if somebody tries to peek you first, this is what you do. Hey, Sally, that's awesome. Good luck to you. But I'm actually helping a few insurance agents right now expand their portfolio and make some more money. Let me know if that interests you. Done. Like done. Okay, like mic drop, right? So again, like let's say they try to peek you. Yes, though, yes. Okay, they try to peek you. You're just like, hey, Sally, that's great. Good luck to you. But I actually am helping other insurance agents expand their portfolio right now and make some extra money. Let me know if that interests you, right? And some people will actually say, well, how do you do that, right? Because I piqued their interest, right? So that's what you can do when they try to pique you back. That's the second option. Now, third option, if they say yes, okay, you piqued them and they said yes, okay? First of all, jump up and down, clap for yourself because you piqued someone and they said yes, right? Online. Now, when they say yes from there, this is where the schedule part comes in. You have to know the schedule, okay? Mr. Thomas is going to be doing continuing presentations that we plug into. And then we also have Wednesdays that we've added in there. We have Saturday, Sunday. Like, we have a plethora of presentations. Co-founders are doing 3 presentations a day during the day. So like, there's really no excuse for anyone, but I feel like we're maybe intimidated or we just did not know how to reach out to people, right? So that's where the schedule comes in. Know the schedule, just say, if I would you. So write that part down, because that's like, if I would you, because here's, personally, I do not send people the code unless they're confirmed. Because look, if you try to get into a club and your name is not on the guest list, I don't care how much you try, unless it's like one of those clubs, but you're not getting in unless your name's on the guest list, right? So what I try to do is I will confirm them first, and then I do not send the code out to them until about 30 minutes before the presentation. I will send reminders that morning, and then I send them the code like 30 minutes before. So if I could get you into an exclusive webinar for an overview or for an executive overview or a summary, whatever you want to say, would you be on at 6 p.m. on Tuesday? Done. And remember, guys, don't try to invite someone for Tuesday on a Friday. No, like take Friday, Saturday, Sunday to go back and forth with them. Hey, how's it going? What do you do? Form them, right? Family, occupation, recreation, money. Family, occupation, recreation, money. Form them in those 3 days. And then Monday, bam, hey, what are you doing tomorrow at 6, right? And then from there, if I could get you into an exclusive webinar, would you be able to join? Okay, and make it so exclusive. Like, think about a party that you wanted to go to, okay? Just like this, like super, super exclusive party. You're like, oh my God, like everyone's gonna be there. I wanna go there, blah, blah, blah. How bad did you wanna just like be there? Like be a part of that, right? So we have to give people that same feeling. And I said this before, if you're not excited, why is anybody else gonna be excited? Like if they don't hear you excited, they're gonna be like, well, that person looks miserable. I don't think I wanna do what they're doing, right? Don't do that. Just don't do that, okay? Because you know what this business has given you and you want other people to have that chance, okay? Now, the next thing after they say yes, remember we're getting them to a presentation. And if you know who the guest speaker is going to be, you can edify them, or option B. This is what I did with one of my, one of the girls that was on a presentation last week that ended up signing up. And this is what I did. So we got on a Zoom call and we're talking, and like she's just like, okay, so how do I do this, blah, blah, blah. So guess who do you guys think I edified? Mr. Thomas, right? So look, we get to directly work with the senior vice president. Like there's some people that don't even have an upline, right? So I showed her, I was like, look, he's in magazines, and because I had the page bookmarked, I was like, look, he's in magazines, da, da, da. And then Mr. Thomas, being the leader that he is, when he found out, he was just like, so when can we talk to her? And I was like, are you gonna try to call her right now? And then we called her. She was off the walls because someone like Mr. Thomas that's in magazines called her and knew her name and wanted to know about her. Like, do you know how huge that is? You can even, you have Mr. and Mrs. King. You have the card, like you have people that you can edify. Like I've even done 3-way calls for people that I have no financial link to. Like I'll help you, right? As long as it's not like every 10 minutes and it's like, I can't get anything done, but you know, like people are here to help you. Like, just let them know, say, hey, can you do a quick 3-way call for me? Okay, done, you know, but you have to learn how to edify, because that's one of the skills that you're going to need in this business. Okay. Now, after edification, I was talking to someone from Canada, a younger IBO that we kind of adopted each other as like brother and sister. And I was talking to him, I'm like, dude, like, what's going on? Like, I haven't seen you, blah, 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 right? And we went through numbers and stuff, and he's just like, I figured out my problem. And I was like, okay, so what's the problem? Like, what's your problem? And he was like, I wasn't closing people. And I was like, what? Like, you have done over 700 exposures, you're telling me, like, collectively. And I'm like, you're not RD yet? Like, and he's like, I just wasn't closing. And it's like, okay, so learn how to close, right? Like, as simple as that, like, learn how to close. So at the end of the presentation, the person that's doing the webinar is always going to direct them to go back to you, right? Now, when they come back to you, all you have to say is, so what'd you like the best? Wasn't that awesome? What'd you like the best? Whatever they respond. What's your answer? Me too. I don't care if they say, I love that they started in 1993 and they're still around. Me too. I love the money. Me too. I love the positions that nobody stops you. Me too. I love the bonus, and me too. Whatever the answer is, agree. Okay, whatever it is. Because guess what? When you agree with someone, if their walls are up here during the presentation, okay, after the presentation, they're like right here, then after everything's done and you ask them, so what'd you like the best? And then you're just like, he says the money, and you're like, oh my God, me too. Those walls come down, right? Because you just connected to them. You related to them. When people feel like they're understood, they're going to be more open to what you have to say. Okay. Now, it's a little bit more difficult with cold market on these apps and stuff because there is constant bombardment. But the thing is, as long as you're doing this, you're trying, right? And it's better to try and fail than to not even do anything at all. Like, there's a lot of people that they haven't done anything in like the last 2 months, right? And the first month, I will admit, I barely had exposures. I was barely talking to people because whatever's going on, I mean, it kind of like, you don't know how to react because you've never been through it, right? But if it wasn't for the constant like leadership and plugging in with Mr. Thomas and just his patience with all of us, like, I don't even know how to begin to thank him for like anything that he's done for any of us, like at all. Like, I have no words, right? But you really have to be self-accountable. Like, no one's gonna come to save you but you. Like, you're your own superhero. I see you, Edmund, I got you. Like, no one is coming for you. You know, it's either you or, I mean, you just move out of the way for people that want it, you know? And so after that, closing and then launching. So I want to give everyone a challenge. Now, I don't know, Mr. Thomas, you can let me know if you don't want me to do the challenge, but this is just for people that are going to accept it. Okay. You don't have to do it. You don't even have to, like, but if you either want to be full-time or part-time in ACN, raise your hand. Full-time or part-time. Okay. Now, if you at least want to be part-time, raise your hand. Like, at least be part-time. Minimum. Okay, cool. So this point system that I'm going to give everyone right now, for those that accept the challenge in June, and I'm going to do this myself because I've been personally developing, working on myself, and now it's like, there's a time where you just got to do it. You just got to go, right? You have to do it even though you don't feel like it. You have to motivate yourself, because guess what? You're not going to feel motivated all the time, and this isn't easy. And we know that quote, if it was easy, everybody would do it. Everybody has the same chance that Mr. Thomas did. What's the only difference between him and everybody else on this line? He just did it. Nike's quote is his favorite, just do it, right? And it's easier. I don't want to say it's easier said than done, but you just, if you have that burning desire and you just want to do it so bad, like just think about all the struggles that you've gone through. Think about all the struggles that your family's gone through. Think about everything. Now ask yourself at this point in time in your life right now, are you satisfied with the level of success you've achieved in anything in your life? And if the answer is no, change it. Change it. Be like a light switch and flip it. Be like, you're not a tree. You can get up and move. Like Edmund's going crazy because you know it's true. Like you don't have to live life this way that you don't want to. Guess whose hands it's in? Yours. The ball is in your court. Just pick it up. Pick it up and shoot. Like worst case scenario, you're gonna fail. Michael Jordan said, it's there, you learn more in failure than you do in winning. Okay? And Mr. Thomas on Friday's podcast, the Top Producer podcast, he said a part of winning is losing and a part of losing is winning. Like, that's genius, right? When we hear that, we're just like, oh my God, like keep talking, right? Like that's just genius, but you have to want to do it. So this point system is going to be a challenge for the next 30 days for everyone. I might give you like tomorrow to like get it together, right? But then starting Tuesday, like you better go at it. So this is for the people that are going to accept the challenge for June. And if you are, text me, message me, social media, whatever, just let me know because I want to see how many people this reach. I want to see who actually plugs in and takes control of their ACN business along with myself. So it's not like I'm not doing it with everyone, okay? Now, if you're going to do ACN part-time, you need a minimum of 10 points per week. So write that down first, okay? PT equals 10 points per week, okay? Part-time. Now, if you're gonna do full-time, that's at least 50 points per week, 50, okay? So 5 times. So part-time, 10 points, full-time, 50 points, okay? Now, this is where it gets good, okay? So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things here, okay? And this is coming straight from a senior vice president. There's 6 things here that you're gonna get to track, okay? So go ahead and number on your page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay? Part-time, 10 points, full-time, 50 points, 50. Number 1, when you prospect a customer, meaning when you peak, okay? When you peak, that's 1 point. So remember, social media, if you have a minimum goal to peak 5 people a day, guess what? That's 5 points. Like even, okay? 5 points. Number 2, if you get a customer, that's 2 points. So number 1, peak, 1 point. Number 2, get a customer, that's 2 points, okay? Now, if you peak for an IBO, so the first one, sorry, is to peak a customer, okay? Peak a customer. So like, let's say you ask somebody how much they pay on their cell phone and you're just like, oh, I can help you with that, right? So number 1, peak a customer is 1 point. Number 2, you get a customer is 2 points. Number 3, prospect and a potential IBO, okay? That's 2 points. Number 4, if you get a guest on Zoom, that's 3 points per guest. If you have 3 guests on a Zoom, that's 9 points. You only need 10 to be part-time, like in the whole week, okay? 3 people, okay? Now, the next one, if you present the business yourself, you get 3 points, okay? So let's say you do a one-on-one or you do a two-on-one, you presented the business, and no, you cannot go in the mirror and say this to yourself, do the presentation and count it. It does not count, okay? So you present the business, that's 3 points. Now the last one, if you get an IBO, that's 5 points, 5 points, okay? So prospect a customer, 1, get a customer, 2, prospect for an IBO or peak, 2, guest on Zoom, 3, present the business yourself, 3, or you get an IBO, that's 5, okay? Now my challenge to everyone for June, if you are part-time, which right now, everybody on this line is part-time. We might not act like it, or we might not feel like it because we're doing a lot of activity versus productivity, right? But the challenge is, if you're part-time, minimum 10 points per week. Okay, for June, 10 points per week. Does acquiring customers for? Nope, just personal. So Edmund's question, is it for like if Magali's my IBO and I get a customer for? No, personal. So like, for example, my husband's still been running our businesses, okay? So he still goes out there every day. He's out probably like 10, 12, 14, 16 hours sometimes, depending on the schedule, right? He acquired yesterday, around his schedule, like in the cracks of his schedule, he acquired an internet customer, okay, from like one of the people that he met or something, and he acquired an AT&T cell phone customer. And then he's working on an energy customer. So I'm just like, you're awesome, right? Like, he's doing all of that while working 12, 14, 16-hour days. And he's out there, right? So if all of us are at home and we can't get people on the presentations, like, are we really trying? Or are we just thinking that we're trying because we're just like, I'll do it tomorrow. They might not say yes. I don't know, right? So this challenge is to get everybody back on track in June, because here's the deal. The type of senior vice president that we have and the amount of importance he gives us in his life, the amount of belief that this man has in all of us, if we don't do something to honor that, we're wasting his time. And I feel like that a lot of times that I don't even deserve like the time that he gives us or like talks to us as much, but he genuinely wants everyone to succeed. But are we really putting in, like, he can, if we take 2 steps, he'll take 4. That's the type of person that he is. But we initially have to take those 2 steps so he knows that we're willing, right? If we're not even willing to go the first 2 steps, why is he gonna wanna take 4? Like, right? Does that make sense? So presentation wise, like the evening ones should be second exposure. So during the daytime, we should be presenting, peaking. You can get people on the co-founder calls, things like that. But in the evening, that is a second exposure. So if they've already seen the business, then in the evening, that's like our BOM, right? Everything that we did in person, remind people to, have their camera on, be dressed, have a notebook, be on early, all of that stuff. You have to do the same exact thing online. That's the only difference. And it wasn't as easy to adjust at first, but guys, it's been over 60 days. Like, we need to get it together. Like, and I'm not saying this to everyone. This is including me, like myself. I'm calling myself out. Like, I got to get it together. Like, we know what we're capable of. Like, did we not see like the same leadership yesterday? Like, do you see what people are accomplishing in their life? And like, what's the difference between them and us? It's your mindset. Like, it's yourself. It's your own limiting beliefs. Like, there's nothing holding you back. Have you traveled the way you want to travel in your life? Have you experienced your life the way you want it to be? Have you made your parents, like, all of these things that matter to us, have we done them? We don't know how much time we have. Like, you got to make the most of it. That man created Dubai Land. He's like, I don't even care if Disneyland doesn't want to partner in. Like, I'll make my own, because he had that vision. Like, Mr. Thomas gives us that vision every single day. There is no other senior vice president that I know of that does a conference call for their team every single day. No, none. And the level of leadership that he gives us, the information that he gives us is not just ACN related, it's life related. And it's not given anywhere else. But are we taking the first 2 steps to give him the chance to take the 4 steps back? So this is my challenge to everyone. If you are part-time, your minimum is 10 points a week. If you're doing this challenge and you want me to have you accountable, I'm creating a WhatsApp group for this challenge, okay? So I will go ahead and drop my number in the chat. We'll leave it open for like 30 seconds after or whatever. But if you want to be a part of this, and if you're just tired of not achieving what you know you're capable of, take a chance on yourself, get it together, because no one else is coming to save you. Okay, this is not Publishers Clearinghouse. Like, it ain't coming in the mail. Okay, like Mr. King said. So go ahead, you guys can put it in the chat. If you're taking up the challenge, just put, you know, put like I am or I'm in, put I'm in the chat, let me know. And then I hope that helped everyone. Mr. Thomas, if you can hear my voice, if you could grace us with your presence.
Yes, ma'am, I'm right here, I'm listening. I just want to thank you for a great part two tonight, everybody. You know, like she said, you know, this breakdown how this is all about. You know, co-founders are doing in the day. We're here on Tuesday, Thursdays, and we added Wednesdays to help you build your business. There's no way possible that everybody cannot get at least one person, excuse me, on these calls. I mean, I don't know how you get, you know, I'm leading by example, you know, but here again, I have people supposed to be on, then it's short, but it happens to me too, but it does not stop me from getting people on these calls. You know, tonight we broke down and she broke down how to do internet advertising, how you can get people in front of the information, how to follow up with them. First exposure, maybe the company's calls on the weekdays, and we're in the evening, so we're trying to be a second exposure, or we can be a first exposure, but exposing people. That's what it's all about. You know, she talked about her husband, who's Mr. Hussein, is at who's at one of their gas stations. He's still signing customers up every other day. Still, like he's got another customer going in the system. You know, so why is it that he can do it and we're not doing it? You know, it's Friday night. I talked about Friday night at a happy hour. I exposed some ideas. Saturday, I did a training yesterday that was amazing. If you didn't see it, go back online, go back to the YouTube channel and watch yesterday's training. You know, about thinking big. That was part two. Part three will be on this coming Saturday. But I just want you to understand you got to think bigger than you ever thought before. And if you go back and look at yesterday's training, you'll see what I'm talking about. But right now, can we give Miss Ismail a hand for just a dynamite training today? Come on, let's show her some love out there. Let's show her some love. Show her some love. There you go. Because you know what? She took time out. And if I said anybody could study me, she's always studied. Just like every time I ask a question, she's always, ooh, or she'll give the answer. And I told the other, no, let somebody else come because I know you already know. Let's see what everybody else is picking up. See, the thing of it is taking notes is so important. To turn around and regurgitate the information so you understand it. Let it sink in there. You know, some of you, I said, practice this. Why? Because I want you better. I can't get you to go. I'm trying to get you to go where you want to go, but you got to stand up and practice. We got to get better at it. So understand these things are going to help you get better. And our numbers are coming up higher and higher, but we got to get a lot more work ahead of us because right now people are starting to go outside, understanding things are done, things are back. No, they're not. We're in the eye of the storm. We haven't got to the eye of the storm yet. But that's not what we're here for tonight. We're here for tonight for you to understand what she's doing to build her business. Every day I talk to her in the mornings. We have a set time, and she's put another 67 names and numbers in, or got more people hitting her this, or here's this was happening, because she's out there doing it every single day. So just don't be listening. Don't just be hearers of the word, that little black book say, but be doers of what you heard tonight. Do what you just heard tonight. You know, she has studied her information. She knows her stuff. And she's trying to bless you with things that you all could do. Look, there's enough out there for everybody. If there's 330 million people still in America, still look, come on, it's enough for everybody. But what do we really say we're doing? Like she said a minute ago, are you saying it to be saying it? No, you heard what she said. She's actually doing it. So step up to the plate, everybody. Let's get busy with this information. There's nothing stopping every one of you for having one person tomorrow morning on here at 9 o'clock. We have Miss Johnson Driscoll be tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. You know, there'll be a lot of people on here. But don't wait for them to get on here. What are you doing? What are you bringing to the table? What are you bringing to the table? You know, I talked about it the other day. I'm going to say this and when we're done. You know, number one, why did God make you? Why did the Creator make you? And as to what, everybody? We all know now what to serve. And after serving, how do I add more value, Al Thomas? Well, we'll increase your value by what? Your skill set. By, first of all, leadership. And that calls in skill set. What kind of skills? First skill is listening skills. You're listening, but what are you going to do with the information? The second skill behind listening is what? It's how to sell. People rather go H-E-L-L than S-E-L-L because we taught at an early age that was bad. It's not bad. It's just that's what they told you. Don't you realize that at this point in your life and career, 90% of the things you've been taught has been wrong? Can you understand that? Well, then we're trying to make a wrong a right by changing your way of thinking, because your way of thinking, and I don't mean to sound disrespectful, has not got you where you want to go. So as I give you things, please take it in love, utilize it, and upgrade your way of thinking. Remember, consciousness. We talked about the other day, consciousness. First of all, we got to pivot, right? Pivot. And what's next after pivot? We have to what? Restart, and then that consciousness has to change. So change your consciousness, because we're in a new era, a brave new era. And with information you got tonight is a great way. So those that hear what she had to say and then go implement it, watch the numbers in your business come up. Some of you listen, you got, hey, that's great notes, but won't do nothing with it. I'm sorry. It doesn't work that way. You got to put the energy in it. You got to put it in. You don't go to the fireplace in the dead of winter and say, give me heat, then I'll give you wood. It doesn't work that way. You got to go out there and chop the wood in the cold weather and bring in the wood to put in the fireplace. So remember, the only place that success comes before work is in the dictionary. You said you want to be successful. You said, not you guys, but most people staying at home 4 months ago. Man, I can't wait to get home at work. I can't wait to get home. Man, I wish I didn't have to work today. I wish I was home today. Man, I wish I was. And now here 4 months later, man, everybody's at home. I can't wait to get to work. See, people are so liars. They don't know how good they have it. And you and I have an opportunity to help people financially that are hurting today. July, when those stimulus check runs out, I'm sitting at home making more money than I understand. But what are you doing with your time? See, that's what they're not doing anything with their time. They're waiting until July to go back to work because they have to. And guess what? We still have an answer. I'm going to tell you something. I'm looking forward to some of you having hundreds of people weekly. Some of you are going to do 100 people a month. Some of you might do 100, maybe all 2 or 3 years, because you're not implementing what was said tonight. And my biggest prayer, I want every one of you to be super successful. I want you to make more than I ever made. And the only way that's going to happen is start putting it, get the work in. So with that, I want to thank Ms. Ismail for a wonderful call tonight. I just wanted to let you guys know we'll be back tomorrow morning. And here's again, mark your calendar. My Bible is my Bible. My second calendar is my appointment book. And we're here Tuesday night, 6 o'clock p.m., Thursday night, 6 o'clock p.m. Some of the superstars divided to do their own Wednesday nights. We're on Wednesday night here, the same code, same Batman channel, same Batman code. We got Friday night happy hour. Everybody loves that. Saturday leadership at 6 o'clock. Sunday night, 6 o'clock. We have some of the best trainings going on in this conference than we have in the company, I believe. And I tell you what, you guys need to take advantage of it. And the last thing I'm going to give you tonight, like I said, I'm going to keep pounding this in your head. You need to text your people, get a list. Text your people. One, text everybody in your organization. Don't forget the call. Text them 10 minutes for the call to remind them and get them in the habit of getting on here. You guys are great getting on here, but why is it not your team on here? Because you have not taken it upon yourself to do a simple little thing. Every morning, what I just send out a text message around the 7 o'clock p.m. hour, a.m. hour in the morning, to remind people just something nice to drop in their spirits, the way to start their day off. Even before this craziness happened, I would send a message out just to remind people. Oh yeah, my ACM business. Oh yeah, let me go. Oh, why? So as leaders, think ahead. That way you have one. Come on, it's just not that much to do this business. And with that, I want to thank once again everybody on what's up. Okay, I want to thank everybody that's on the training call tonight. I know you got a blessing, because I certainly did. We'll be back tomorrow morning, same bat time, 9 o'clock a.m. Pacific Coast time. But let's get our people on here. Let's get them on here. Let's get them on here. And with that, God bless you all. Be safe tonight. Continue getting customers on, and I will see you in the morning. God bless. Thank you.